They are taken.
Eris, get your rock off my map.
What's up, Outlaws and fellow YouTubers? This is kind of an impromptu return to doing some content creating, and I'm going to try and make it brief so that it doesn't drag on like my first cut of this did when I realized that my mic wasn't working. Speaking of mic, this is actually why we're doing this. I'm returning a little bit earlier than I'd planned to because we're doing a bit of a fundraiser for our friend Mike, who goes by VoidedMike on Instagram and Twitter, places like that. I say we because I'm joined by Full Metal Boxers, Sammunition Depot, Bearded Nuisance, and others. We've been doing a bit of a streaming campaign that started this past week, and in just a couple of days, we raised $1,220. We can do better, of course. He has a goal of $5,000, so we're a little over the fifth of the way there in just a couple of days' time. But TLDR version, the guy fell ill. He basically started experiencing vertigo-like symptoms at work a week ago and spent a week in the hospital getting brain scans, imaging, blood work, biopsies, you name it, just to try to make sure that he didn't have something severe such as cancer going on. Luckily, and it's sad that I have to say this way, but luckily, it only ended up being a mild stroke and a diagnosis of type 2 diabetes with some kidney damage, but what the possibilities could have been far, far worse. So if you can spare $1, there'll be a link in the top of the description below to his GoFundMe campaign. Please, even $1 can go a long way. Any little bit you can spare. I know times are tough, but that would do a great, great thing to help this guy out and get him back on his feet. But with that, let's get back into the reason we're all here, which is some gaming news. Some of this is going to be a little bit dated. It's just I'm catching up, so bear with me here. Did you know that Evil West got delayed by 2 months? Yeah, so for those who don't know me or have been living under a rock, this whole Evil West game is kind of the culmination of everything that I brand myself around. The whole Wild West, Mandalorians, gadgets, cool hardware. Evil West is a kind of like what would be the love child of Devil May Cry and Red Dead Redemption. This is the best way I can describe it. It looks amazing. The last gameplay demo, which I will link below, was pretty impressive, I have to say. I actually was not at all turned off by it. I actually thought it looked pretty sharp. But if they think that it needs a delay from September 20th to November 22nd, there obviously must be some good reasons behind it. And I'm not going to be one to tell Flying Hog that their game isn't ready or that their game is ready. If they need time, we've all learned what happens when you rush a game out. Looking at you, Cyberpunk. Still love you, Cyberpunk, but another year, maybe 2, and I think you could have had an absolute earth-shattering game. But hey, I digress. Sadly, Evil West has been delayed 2 months, so you're going to have to wait a little bit longer for me to go ham and be completely beside myself as I play a game that I feel has been designed specifically for me to play. So there will be, as things progress over the next 2 months, since I'm coming back to content creating, I'm actually going to be renewing some focus on this game to try and bring awareness to it, get more people interested in it, and maybe get some of us streaming it together. I don't think it really has any multiplayer, but, we always like finding secrets in games like this. So to move on, something a little bit darker to talk about is this whole thing about the Bungie harassment that's been going on. We all know that a while back there was mention of a chest exotic for Titans called Twilight Garrison. Very famous from Destiny 1, basically gave us an airborne dodge. It was freaking fantastic. We were basically told it was never going to come back. And we all know that the Bungie community, specifically the Destiny community, can be a passionate bunch. Sometimes, hell, often, to the point of vitriol. And they did not take this news lightly. This is pretty funny considering something that's going to be coming out on Tuesday, but I'll get to that in a minute. Things got pretty bad though. Some of the feedback was very severe, very, very toxic, and it literally got to the point to where they said that they were going to dial back some of their own feedback and some of their own transparency, and that a lot of their gaming news and developer insights and updates, et cetera, were going to be contained primarily in TWABs for the time being. That's what we were used to begin with anyway. The fact that they were even reaching out to us in podcasts and on tweets and things of that nature, that was kind of a privilege, because TWABs alone is still more than most large sandboxy open world MMO type game developers. That's more than they usually give us. So Bungie's already pretty transparent. But come to find out, that was not the end of the harassment, and it was actually going to get worse. For those of you who've never heard of a particular content creator named Amaze, sorry, I almost said Umaze, Amaze. The guy is a prominent black content creator for Destiny and streamer who sometimes just breaks out into freestyle rap in the middle of his stream, and it's freaking amazing. We're talking like deep Detroit levels of mic drop freestyle rapping, and it's absolutely fire to listen to and watch. Well, apparently, he has now partnered with Bungie. So I guess it's okay for white content creators like Aztec Cross and Dado, Glad, and ZK Mushroom, and My Name is Bife. Nothing against those guys, because they're all among a lot of my favorite Twitch streamers and content creators, especially Bife and Aztec Cross. It's okay for a white content creator to partner with Bungie, but the moment that Amaze, who's also an incredible human being, decides to join up, the harassment gets so bad that Bungie employees start getting doxxed. Yeah, like, personal information, addresses start getting given away. An anonymous account tweeted threats to kill Bungie employees. Some of them started getting voicemails and text messages on their private unlisted phones with racial slur and epithets. There was even a voicemail requesting that they requested a N-word killing DLC to be added to Destiny 2, just in case you want to know how severe this crap's getting. And he identified himself as a member of a right-wing social network. I don't like it when things get political, but for those who've been to assemblies in the Deep South or even Orlando or other parts of Florida, maybe even in Texas, seen this swastika waving lunatics out there, you kind of know that their depravity knows no bounds. Apparently, when it comes to video game employees, there's no exception. But there was this is the creepy one. There was a voicemail left saying, "Enjoy your pizza," and the pizza showed up at someone's unlisted address. Not only that, but there were some fears of swatting happening shortly after that. And if you don't know what swatting is, basically it's some phony call goes in, giving the SWAT team some justification to basically bang in your door while you were midstream or content creating and throw you to the ground with guns and rifles to your head, arresting you for who knows what. You sure as hell ain't gonna know what you got called in for. This is ridiculous. All right. This is absolutely ridiculous. And if you think that's not bad enough, what I'm going to show you next maybe isn't as severe as death threats, but it's also pretty ridiculous. The hacking company Aim Junkies, the ones that were pretty much the reason why we ended up with BattleEye being incorporated into Destiny 2, which, by the way, has been incredible. There are still cheaters in Destiny 2, but very few of them slip through the cracks the way they used to. So, but apparently Aim Junkies is so convinced that their cheat software isn't illegal or doing anything wrong that they have decided to subpoena Google, PayPal, Valve, Bungie to find out, why were we being sued? I want the information of everything they got on us. Because, apparently they tried to counter that nobody's provided any sufficient evidence for any kind of copyright claims or any kind of damages done to these companies. And sadly, there was a court that did side with aim junkies. For whatever reason, Bungie did fail to provide sufficient evidence, whatever the hell that means, for a copyright claim against Destiny 2. I don't get it. It's hacking, it's cheating, it's spoiling the fun that people who are playing the game legitimately should be having. They're basically ruining the game. There's absolutely zero chance in hell that these hacks exist for the betterment of games like this. Now, granted, Bungie did refile immediately, and we'll see where things go, but that just goes to show how a hostile environment, how much of a hostile environment sits around some portions of the Destiny community. It's not the whole Destiny community, and the majority of us are very, very, very great, very progressive people who support the content creators like Amaze, who stand strong against hackers and cheaters. But the fact that such a chunk that's this toxic exists, that some people would stoop to doxing, to threatening, swatting, killing, burning down Bungie, or moving near Bungie and making them feel unsafe. I don't know if you've ever heard this before, but I really, really, really have to ask. Go out and touch some grass. And if you don't, seek therapy. I beg of you. Let's move on. Sony. See, we're going to segue from Bungie into Sony. Why is that relevant? Well, for those who don't know, Sony acquired Bungie. It's probably a good thing, as long as they don't go PlayStation exclusive only for Destiny, because that would be utterly ridiculous, especially with the amount of time that they have spent refining the game for use on Xbox and PC. But see, apparently there's a bit of a schoolyard fight going on between Microsoft and Sony, and it's pretty ridiculous because we all know, at least I would think most of us watching this channel know, that Microsoft had acquired Activision Blizzard not too long ago, and this deal is all but done now. And we all love to make fun of Activision Blizzard, but this could possibly be a good thing for them. But apparently, Sony is afraid of this, meaning that Call of Duty is going to go exclusive to Microsoft, Xbox, PC, etc., etc. First of all, the next several Call of Duty games are contractually obligated to be multi-platform. I'm pretty sure that short term is going to show that it's good business to keep such things like Call of Duty and Destiny multi-platform. So I'm hoping that they can settle things down so that this kind of crap that Sony is apparently pulling can stop. What is that? They're apparently paying blocking rights to stop games appearing on Game Pass. They're so afraid that their growth's going to be hampered by Call of Duty potentially going exclusive to Xbox, by the way, which there has been no indication of that happening. But they're so afraid of that they've apparently been trying to push blocking rights to stop games from showing up on Game Pass. And as it is, I don't know what they're afraid of Call of Duty about, because I don't know if you've been following the news about Vanguard and Warzone lately, but they keep getting hit with all these plagiarism accusations. Starting with this Loyal Samoyed skin here on the left side of this picture on the banner here, was plagiarized from an artist, Sale Lin, who had posted a series of images on Monster Army. Basically, they were concepts of soldiers wearing monster hats, animal hats, helmets, etc., etc. And hey, a Warzone and Vanguard artist just took it upon themselves, like, hey, that looks like a cool design. Let me just pretty much damn near line for line, fur for fur, copy this Loyal Samoyed head and plop it on one of our soldiers. The community will gobble this up. Well, just as soon as that came up, it was promptly taken back down, so that DLC never did see the light of day. But that didn't stop them from doing it again, because there's an old Infinity Ward director who's got a new game in the pipeline, who also had his own work plagiarized. What was plagiarized? This guy down here. Again, for Call of Duty Vanguard and Warzone. So I don't really understand what Sony is all that afraid of when we have situations like this brewing over at Call of Duty. If Call of Duty makes both sides suffer for any kind of income or revenue shares, it's going to be if Call of Duty and Activision Blizzard's doing. Hopefully, this kind of crap will stop once this deal is completely said and done with Microsoft, and they can put their thumb on the pulse of what's going on over Activision Blizzard that makes these things happen in the first place. More on that. I don't want to make this video go any longer than it has to, because we're going to continue talking about this hilarity with a Diablo Immortal video on Friday as we go more deeply into these fiascos. But good God, if there's one thing to take away from this video, it's that really some things just haven't changed. People still suck, and whether you're a community member or a member of the industry, folks find no shortage of ways to be shitty to each other. And I wish it would stop, because let's be real about one thing, all right? For those of you who follow me on this channel, for those of you who follow me on Twitch, we're all here for something that we share in common. That's video games. We all love video games, right? So, and I would like to think that most of us all respect each other, and we're pretty cool to each other, and especially those of you in the Star Wars Galaxies Legends community. I haven't forgotten about you, and I have a video for y'all coming up in the next couple weeks too. But we're all pretty decent to each other. So why is it so hard for some to just be equally decent to game developers? And why is it so hard for game developers in the industry to stop spitting vitriol back and forth about one another? I get that there's some little competition, but it should be fun competition. And you're going to find out that in the long term, things like Destiny being multi-platform is going to be good for business. Things like Call of Duty being multi-platform will be good for business. And that'll all be for naught. And oh, by the way, I'm sure one of you Destiny watchers is probably sitting there biting your thumbs like, you forgot to talk about the thing. You forgot to talk about the thing about the whole Twilight Garrison. Okay, let's go back to that. The Bungie harassment, yeah. Okay, let's go back to this. Yes. So, for Titans who are worried about whether or not they were getting a dodge back, we're getting a thruster ability that's going to be a class ability, which means you won't be able to use your barricade. Oh well. The thruster ability with Arc 3.0 going live on Tuesday is going to allow us to dodge. Isn't that freaking something? So we are basically getting a Twilight Garrison light on the ground that will make you dodge in the direction that you're facing, the throttle direction as they like to call it. So yes, that's why some of this gets ridiculous. It's like people just want to knee-jerk react to stuff. And again, case in point, that's what they knee-jerk reacted over with the whole Twilight Garrison. It's what Sony is knee-jerk reacting with over the whole Activision Blizzard Call of Duty fiasco. Folks, just calm down for a little bit. Let this ride, and we'll come back clean slate the next day. You know what I mean? So, again, this was an impromptu return to content creating. I wanted to do this to raise awareness from a pal, VoidedMike. Again, his link will be in the description below. And, yeah. Tune in on Friday. I'll have some more fun news and some more things to make fun of. And we'll do this all together and have a good time. By the way, if there's some extra content outside of Diablo Immortal that you would like to see, feel free to drop a comment about that in the below the description. And I will catch y'all next time. In the meantime, though, stay sharp, ride fast, Outlaws.